right, I have Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail here, and I just want to go through some of the amazing lines that are riddled throughout this. Right out the gate here, we have, "You deplore the demonstrations that are presently taking place in Birmingham, but I am sorry that your statement did not express a similar concern for the conditions that brought the demonstration into being." Fire. So good. And then he keeps going with, "I am sure that each of you would want to go beyond the superficial social analyst who looks merely at effects and does not grapple with the underlying causes." So good. Bars. And then down here, just as Socrates felt that it was necessary to create a tension in the mind so that individuals could rise from the bondage of myths and half-truths, we must see the need of having non-violent gadflies to create the kind of tension in society that will help men to rise from the dark depths of prejudice and racism to the majestic heights of understanding and brotherhood. Oh my gosh. And this is probably my favorite line in the whole thing. It says, "I received a letter this morning from a white brother in Texas which said, are you not in too great of a religious hurry?" And in response to that, he says, "It is a strangely irrational notion that there is something in the very flow of time that will inevitably cure all ails. Actually, time is neutral. We must come to see that human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and persistent work of men willing to be co-workers with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the forces of social stagnation." So the reason I'm pointing out all these lines, and the reason I will continue to point out these lines throughout the rest of the video, is that recently I was watching a lecture from David Brooks where he's discussing the issue that we have in our culture right now of so many people distrusting institutions and having no faith in government or people. And he makes a point in that lecture that I thought was amazing, which is that you can't argue with those people that have that extreme distrust. You can't debate them or try to explain why you should trust these institutions or why you should have faith, because you will drive them even further into that distrust. What you actually have to do is show them that there are things to live for and that there are good things about society and that there are good faith people. And I think the people that are the biggest cause for this distrust, and I understand that's a huge claim that I can't necessarily prove, are the moderates, the people in the middle. It's not necessarily the MAGA people who are all the way on the extreme or the far less social communists who are all the way on the extreme. It's the people in the middle that just don't care every day. It's the social nihilists that just go on every day and allow this distrust to happen around them. And for those people as well, you can't necessarily argue with them as to why this specific institution is worth, your trust, or this specific politician is worth your faith. You just have to show them why faith and trust are important in general. And this letter from a Birmingham jail is talking to a very similar group of people. It's not talking to the Ku Klux Klan. It's talking to moderate white people who weren't doing anything about the problem, even if they may have disagreed with it. He says here, "First, I must confess that over the last few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the great stumbling block in the stride towards freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than justice. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection." Even though it's in a radically different context, I think this same idea applies to this discussion of the distrust of institutions, because I think a large part of the issue isn't just the people who are on Instagram all the time trying to disprove 9/11 or trying to claim that Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel, or claim that all levels of government are run by the demon lord Baal, or the people that claim that Donald Trump is Jesus Christ coming back to crush the spirit of Babylon. It's the people who are in the middle saying, well, I just don't trust anything anymore. Like, no, you must make the choice to trust something. You can't just stand by and wait for people to fix this issue. It starts with you. Go and trust your neighbor. Go and trust your local community institution. Put a little bit of extra faith in a politician that you really believe in. Like, all of this distrust and this cultural confusion that we have, I think, is in large part to people just checking out and getting all nihilistic and saying, it might fix itself with time, or we'll all be dead in 30 years, but regardless, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. Like, no, trust something. Be that trusting person. Be that loving person. Be that person who wants to make things better. Just like he's saying here, the people that frustrate me aren't just those 9/11 Bow people that I just brought up. It's a lot of the times just the people who are like, well, I don't really care. It is what it is. Like, no, it isn't what it is. It isn't just what it is. It's to make it something different. By the way, I have no cohesive point for this video. I just got really fired up after reading this, and I want to share more lines with you. Another thing that I love about this is that Martin Luther King starts off with an air of respect towards his opposition, even though he was obviously not being respected whatsoever. He starts off with, "Since I feel that you are men of genuine good and your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms." Or even going back to that one I quoted at the beginning with the, "But I am sorry that your statement did not express a similar concern for the conditions that brought the demonstrations into being." It's saying these incredibly powerful, concise, direct direct, just amazing examples of rhetoric while still remaining kind. Like, these are so effective in silencing that opposition, in explaining to the opposition why they're wrong, but they're not condescending at all. They're so respectful and they're kind, but they're to the point and they're smart. It's just so impressive. And even here at the end, if I have said anything in this letter that is an understatement of the truth and is indicative of an unreasonable impatience, I beg you to forgive me. If I have said anything in this letter that is an overstatement of the truth and is indicative of my having a patience that makes me patient with anything less than brotherhood, I beg God to forgive me. What he just said there was so powerful, it was so poetic, it was so direct, but it was kind. It was loving. It was said with a genuine interest in helping the person that he's talking to. It was said in the interest of genuine change, not revenge. And once again, even though it's in a radically different context in 2026, I think this idea absolutely applies. These people that are in these insane Facebook rabbit holes don't need argumentation. That's not going to help anything. They're just going to get even more crazy. They need to be shown that the world is a lot more normal than they think it is. And I'm sure any Facebook person watching this video right now is going to think I'm extremely naive. But no, you need to get out of this hole. And I want to be clear when I say that I'm not arguing that there aren't reasons to distrust your government. There absolutely is. The government has been horrible to us for like 70 years. It's not baffling to me that people aren't jumping at the opportunity to die for America and Iran, because America has screwed our soldiers over so many times with Vietnam and Iraq and Afghanistan. And it doesn't baffle me that people think Congress is useless because they've failed to stop so many things that have needed stopping in the past. It doesn't baffle me that people think that there isn't such a thing as a good president because so many presidents have screwed us over with a smile on their face. But nevertheless, even more distrust doesn't do anything. We need to trust something. We need to aim our sights towards something. We can't just completely check out towards this cultural nihilism. Like, if you want to take your trust away from a politician or an institution, that's fine. Maybe they deserve it, but put it towards another politician or another institution or something else that's constructive and positive. And speak to others with love and a genuine interest in change like Martin Luther King did, because clearly it worked for them mostly. At least in this microcosm it worked, but generally speaking, be kind to the people that you're talking to. Be loving to the people that you're talking to. 9 times out of 10, people do not need argumentation. They need perspective. They need love. And MLK strikes gold again with, will we be extremists for hate, or will we be extremists for love? Will we be extremists for the preservation of injustice, or will we be extremists for the cause of justice? Another takeaway that I have from reading this, I love this letter so much, is that, like, Martin Luther King is just a guy. Right? It's important to remember that. Like, granted, he was a very smart guy, he was a very educated guy, he was a very passionate guy, but he was just a human. Anybody can write like this. And I don't say that to discredit his writing. His writing's amazing, but I say that to encourage other writers. Like, write, express yourself, be passionate, because it has an effect. This is a letter from 70 years ago that some random white kid is reading in his room and geeking out over. And I think anybody is capable of that. Anybody is capable of inspiration and great change. And anybody is capable of expressing their thoughts in articulate ways. They just seem to be shown how. They need to read things like this so they understand what it looks like. And we need people like that. We need this, because people on Instagram comment sections I don't think are genuinely dumb, but they write like it. Oh my gosh. People are so stuck in these one-word sentences and these just ginormous claims that they throw out into the world without any argumentation. He wrote a 5-paragraph introduction to his argument, right? 5 paragraphs, right? Just to introduce the argument. And it's very important. If he didn't include this, I don't think his argument would be as powerful as it is. Get in the details, get in the nuance. Just cut it out with these like one-word sentences online. It's so annoying. Stop just like reposting things on your Instagram story. Explain why you think it's good, right? Put your own thoughts into it. Push yourself to articulate your thoughts and ideas and express yourself. He raw dogged this from a freaking jail cell, dude. He has quotes in here. He has references from other people, and he was alone with a pen and paper in a jail cell, dude. Oh my gosh. We have the source of all human knowledge in our pockets, and we can't even write a sentence. It's so frustrating. I think that's about it. Like I said, I have no cohesive point. I just think this is a really good letter, and I wanted to talk about it in a video. I wanted to push myself to articulate my thoughts and ideas and express myself. You can be the judge of how that went.